Hands up. Log in. New tag. Doubt it. Let's go. Woo. Founders in the chat. Woo. Whole squad locked in. Name on the screen, that's Steve in the hot seat. Bitter from the ground, now he talking how the clock beat. Warehouse dust, late nights in the stock week. Turn the grind to a playbook, you can all keep. Click, click, clock. Margin on the back end, shipping labels, payroll, pressure on your last end. He been through the fires, you're afraid to step in. Now we in your browser like ask your best questions. Ass been stressing, rolls in the nosedive, teams on slack, and they barely even hold line. He saw every crash, every diss of my last try. Still came back with the map and the flashlight. Ask me anything. We in the build-up phase, let the founders sing. You got problems, he got founder ring. Scars on his hands from the founder's swing. Ask me anything. Turn that fear in your chest to a battle hymn. Come sellers, agencies, operators in. When the beat drops, everybody dial in. You want scale? He can talk about the cash flow, scars in a stack from the ceiling to the back door. T before ego, that's the backbone. You want a bigger pie, you gon' have to pass, dog. You see bad partners, we got fake friends. Deals go sideways, robbing for the break-ins. But he stay steady, made a lesson out of late rent. Now we drop gems like a shipment on the pavement. You stuck in the weeds, he talk systems. You chasing every trend, he talk vision. From first small win to a seven-figure listing, he's the voice in your ear saying treat it like a mission. Ask me anything. We in the build-up phase, let the founders sing. You got problems? He got founder ring. Scars on his hands from the founder's swing. Ask me anything. Turn that fear in your chest to a battle hymn. E-com sellers, agencies, operators in. When the beat drops, everybody dial in. This that founder to founder. From the trenches to the tower. You got 90 minutes of power. Better pull up with the questions that devour. We in the build-up phase, let the founders sing. You got problems? He got founder ring. Scars on his hands from the founder's swing. Ask me anything. Turn that fear in your chest to a battle hymn. E-com sellers, agencies, operators in. When the beat drops, everybody dial in.
Question on your mind, staring at the sales page, stuck in grind, scrolling through the numbers, wonder why you don't have to guess this time. Tapping, leaning, we're live on the line. Founders in the chat, big brains one time. Ask it how you think it. Watch us break and remix it. Yeah. Ask me anything. Catalyst88, drop your biggest block, we'll elevate from zero to launch, from stuck to great. Ask me anything, Catalyst88, we're talking traffic teams, check out rates, turn those maybes into we just ate. Online builders in the same room, e-com killers making big moves. Real talk, no fluff, straight playbook. One call, one spark, change the outlook. Hey, turn it up, tune it, circle the date. Got a dream, bring it, don't be late. Tap it in the chat, hit send. This is where the stuff parts end. Ask me anything, Catalyst88, drop your biggest block, we'll elevate from zero to launch, from stuck to great. Ask me anything, Catalyst88, we're talking margins, gross, ad spend gates, turn those some days into we just ate. Woo! Founders, makers, all in the thread. Let's go. Questions loaded, clear your head. One idea, put your plan in gear. Same tribe, same vibe. This is your year. Ask me anything, Catalyst88, drop your biggest block, we'll elevate from zero to launch,
Yeah. Let me ask you something real quick. Founder, the leader, let's go. Yeah.
You a founder stuck in operations, can't see the bigger play. Making all the decisions while your leadership the case. Is your calendar controlling you? No time to strategize. Can't negatively wearing every hat in sight. Vision getting blurry cause you're managing the small. Missing opportunities cause you can't scale it all. Team looking at you but you got no clear direction. Culture fall apart, need some serious corrections. Time to transform, elevation's calling you from founder to leader. Here's what we're gonna do.
Let's go.
Catalyst, we transform the game. Strategic thinking, elevate your name. System that scale, leadership refine. CEO coaching, master your mind. Catalyst88, breaking through the ceiling. Founder the leader, that's the power you feeling. Data-driven vision, results you can trust. Transform or stay stuck, it's evolve or it's bust. First we build your vision, crystal clear strategic plan. Quarterly objectives, now you operate like a fortune brand. Then we systematize, document your operations. Automate the mundane, free you up for innovation. Leadership development, we develop your executive presence. Communication mastery, commanding every room session. Delegation frameworks, build a team that execute. Performance metrics tracks, so you always know the truth. Financial intelligence, master your numbers game. Marketing strategies to build your empire's name. AI integration, technology, your advantage. Future chairman circle access, network is pure savage. No more working in it, time to lead above. Transform your business with strategy and love. Transform. Catalyst, we transform the game. Strategic thinking, elevate your name. System that scale, leadership refine. CEO coaching, master your mind. Catalyst, breaking through the ceilings. Founder the leader, that's the power you feeling. Data-driven vision, results you can trust. Transform or stay stuck, it's evolve or it's bust. Are you ready for the transformation? Ready? Ready to lead with absolute domination. From tactical to strategic elevation. We turn founders into leaders, that's our reputation. Catalyst, we transform the game. Strategic thinking, elevate your name. System that scale, leadership refine. CEO coaching, master your mind. Catalyst, breaking through the ceilings. Founder the leader, that's the power you feeling. Data-driven vision, results you can trust. Transform or stay stuck, it's evolve or it's bust. Catalyst88, founder the leader, transform. Catalyst88, become a true believer. Yeah, 88, transform today. Let's go. Founder the leader, that's the only way. Only way. Felt like I was running on a road I drew in chalk. Big dreams on a whiteboard, a tiny circle where I walk. Late nights with the numbers, early doubts I never said. Carrying a company on a spine, a spider thread. Then I saw a room of faces, same tired, stubborn eyes. All these different logos, sharing the same rise. Catalyst in our veins, turning pressure into place. We're not meant to climb alone, we're meant to build a different throne. If you care about the climb and who you are at the same time, oh, come and sit inside this mind. Catalyst88, we realign. We don't talk in buzzwords, we talk payroll, highest hurt. Stories of the deals we lost, lessons written in the dirt. Someone draws a clearer map, someone names the fear I hide. Every struggle on the table.
Since the dawn of humanity, a single quest has defined us. To understand, to find the edge of the map, to see what waits beyond the horizon. to know if we're alone in the stars. Now, we face a new frontier. Superintelligence, the key to unlocking life's greatest mysteries. But with this gift comes a call that you must answer. A puzzle the universe has given you to solve. What question could change the course of humanity? What do you want to know?
Hey, everybody, it is me. It's your old buddy, Steve Simonson. And the question is, what do you have that you want to know that could change your course, if not the course of all humanity? Why not? Let's go big and make sure that we shoot for the stars. So welcome, everybody. It's your old buddy, Steve Simonson. We're doing a Catalyst 88 roundup. I see Adam. I've got two screens going, everybody. So if you see me looking around, Adam's over on that screen. And yeah, it is kind of cinematic. Anybody who wants to see how that intro was made, I can connect you or share the YouTube channel that made that beautiful intro. All of that, as you might imagine, is AI. And you can create those things too if you want to. So it's a fun thing, and it's a very interesting way to kind of level up our own interface, right? You know, now you're just looking at your old buddy Steve, but you know, before you could listen to music AI generated, you can watch movies AI generated, and so much more. So we're going to get into the questions and so forth. And so I encourage you now to go ahead and start queuing up. If you're on Catalyst 88, you can just put it in the comments. If you are outside of Catalyst 88 on one of the social channels, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, etc., you can put it in the comments. Now, we may not leave the social channels on forever. If you scan the code, assuming you happen to have an extra hand or an extra device, the code up there will take you to the Catalyst 88 community. It's a free invite. There's a bunch of free areas. This also is free. And so our mission is just to have a handful of folks that, you know, are determined to make a difference in their own business and their own lives. And we'll try to, you know, give you a hand on that. I do live by the old Zig Ziglar axiom, where he said, you know, you can have everything you want in your life if you help enough other people get what they want. And I'd certainly try to live up to Zig's big vision there. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and throw it in. And if we're slow on questions, I might just share a couple things in the meantime. One of them, I did get a couple pre-questions. One of the questions I got earlier was about the idea of, you know, let's just call it geopolitical turmoil. And what does that mean for sellers? And the answer is, I don't know. Nobody knows. I think it'll be fine at some point in the near future. But chaos and change is not unique. That is the world we live in. And so if you can't control it, then just kind of figure out how to mitigate it as best you can. There's no reason to panic or no reason to try to skip to the end. These things happen. And I've been around long enough to see this happen multiple times. So I want you guys to know that no matter whether it's tariffs or, you know, actual kinetic activity, which is a more nice way of saying war, these things won't stop. It might be something new. It might be somewhere else, but this is just the nature of the world. And so as operators, we have no choice but to just focus on what we can control and be, you know, smart enough to mitigate risk as you start thinking about sourcing and things like that. You know, if there is a viable path for you to mitigate that risk, it seems logical to pursue that until you decide if it's feasible or not. Some paths are feasible to source in closer to your country where you intend to have your sales channels, and that's what I always recommend, is be as close as you can. That certainly will make a difference. And if you can't, then again, try to find some alternative to chaos if it exists. It may not always exist. So anybody who's on live, I see several, looks like 5 on the Catalyst stream and just a couple here on the regular stream. And again, we're testing today the StreamYard, so let me know if you like it. First of all, can you guys even hear me? Give me a comment if you can hear me, because this is not a two-way Zoom. This is a one-way broadcast. So give me a little sound check, if you will, and I'm have to click in. Okay, Augustus, in his normal dry Lithuanian voice, says, no, we cannot hear you. So hilarious. Yes, thank you for that. And again, gang, tee up your questions. This is the Ask Me Anything, so you guys are responsible for the content. I want to remind you that, really there's no topic that's off limits. If I don't know the answer, and this is a Steve guarantee, I'll just make it up. Yeah, I will make it up, or I will chat GPT it. You won't know the difference, and I'll make it sound like it's my own. That the preceding was a joke, everyone. I will generally tell you if I don't know. By general, I mean I'll always tell you if I don't know, but I may speculate as to what my thoughts are. And so I want to let you know that now is the time. Get questions in. Chicken or egg? Adam asks. Okay, so he's going right to the heart of it. Cash flow or profit? Well, cash flow is king. So, whatever the tax man wants to take a cut of, profit-wise, means nothing if you have no cash flow. So, although I encourage you to be more deliberate in the question, like, what are the precise questions? Like, we could do this and make this much money in cash flow, or we could do this and make this much money in profit. If you're not immediately trying to sell, the profit becomes less important to you on a day-to-day basis. So I don't want you to get worried about, what does the income statement say if you are just trying to make cash flow meet. Again, that's one of those geopolitical shocks, right? If your product shoots up high in price due to, pressures of oil or the commodity changing, many products are made from secondary oil refinement, chemicals and compositions. If those are going to be a big deal, maybe it's better that you front load that, sacrifice both profit and cash flow for having stock, right? So there's a I call this the plate spinning issue, right? We're spinning a bunch of plates. Just imagine the whole room filled with spinning plates. Some of those plates might fall, and I encourage you, to whatever extent that you can, not just Adam, but everybody, reduce the plate count as much as you can. So first principles is the thinking that I'm trying to really encourage everyone to adopt. Like, what is the minimum required activities to accomplish the set goal, the stated objective? By the way, if you don't have a set goal, that's kind of where you start. So for many entrepreneurs, I have shared the kind of the how I got there. That includes finding your why, which is a big philosophical, but I think the most important thing I've ever done. And then get your company strategic objective, which is much easier to make that, but it needs to tie to your why. So if you don't know your why, your strategic objective is still a little floaty. The strategic objective should be quantifiable, it should be timed, and it should have any countervailing metrics or numbers in it that would preclude disaster. For example, if I tell a sales team, hey, strategic objectives, we're going to do $1 million this month, and that sales team goes, hooray, terrific, we make money just on the sales, let's go for it. You will find the lowest profit, the lowest margins, So if you don't put in a countervailing metric like at this margin, right, because they can control price and they can control volume, then you're going to find an unintended consequence, which I don't recommend. So when you think about those countervailing things for your strategic objective, it should be, maybe it's this much sales by this time period and with this margin. But you may also throw in another one, like with this customer satisfaction ratio, or one of the ones that I love is just, would your customers recommend you or not, right? The net promotional score, the NPS. So if you say, well, I want, at least 90% of our customers would recommend us to a friend, plus this revenue metric, plus this profit metric, now you're balancing all the way through to the end of the cycle. I think that's really important. All right, so Augustus has a dictionary for me to read, so let me just try to do that without completely annoying you guys. I'm going to move it over to this screen. Okay, so Augustus asks, I believe he's in Portugal right now. You guys can put in where you are, by the way, in the chats, just so I know what time zones I'm dealing with and so forth. So Augustus says, hey, off e-commerce topic, but maybe relevant for other entrepreneurs. And by the way, almost all questions entrepreneurs have are relevant to one another. So he says he started a new content creation brand from scratch. It's a new YouTube channel, AI for Business theme. In addition, he thought to create local meetups in Portugal. Oh, I was right. That is where he lives. And a bigger conference on this topic a half a year later. So I love this. I want to bootstrap it because I don't know, if he's able to monetize this new business. He already feels overwhelmed. Kudos to you. And he might need to hire somebody, but that goes against the keeping costs low. Yes, that is correct. So any advice on this new project and not feel overwhelmed? First, embrace the mushroom cloud. If you're going to have an idea, the mushroom cloud will explode. And there's no way to get around a mushroom cloud unless you stop having ideas or stop trying to innovate. But you can try to see your way through the mushroom cloud. So the first thing is, let's go back to first principles, which I was just talking about. What is the minimum requirement to make part one of your plan come together, right? The YouTube channel. And then what's the minimum requirement to have part two come in? And maybe instead of a half a year later, I know the urgency is part of us, but you say, well, maybe it's 9 months later, maybe it's a year later that you do the big meetup to accomplish both not hiring team, right? Having expenses without knowing revenue, and give yourself a little less overwhelmed. So I always say, assume that nothing could be done and then solve the problem. So assume that you can't hire anybody, just go solve it. Figure it out. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, just go, what is the minimum things that we need to do to make this a great event? By the way, minimum, when you think of first principles, it's not like, how do I half-ass this, right? I want you to whole-ass it if you can. But it is just like, if you need to do, 10 steps, but really only 4 of those are mission critical to accomplishing the goal, just do the 4. So I think it's a very fair question. If anybody else has ever felt overwhelmed, throw that in the chat, everybody, because I can see a number of folks over on the Catalyst88 stream. And on the main stream, I see a couple of you too, but I don't see a lot of comments. So ask your questions now. I'm putting on the main channel. You will not see that at Catalyst88. Well, yeah, so Augustus makes a follow-up, and essentially he says, so, should he say that it's going to take longer to build it than his first, initial aspiration? And maybe, but, the question is, if you had to do it in 6 months and you had to have the YouTube channel live now and you had to do this and you had to do that, how would you solve it? Just blow out all of the barriers and go, well, I would have to either hire somebody or I'd have to work 1 million hours or blank. And what I find is when you put constraints on, this is actually when entrepreneurs are at their most valuable level. Constraints force you to think beyond. Like, just assume you can't hire somebody and you have to do it in 6 months. Now go solve the problem. Overwhelm is a feeling. It's not something, you have to opt into overwhelm. It's not something that exists. It's how we feel. And so just go, hey, list them out. I love to do this exercise. Just go, what are the steps? And again, we want to minimize those steps, but there are some number of steps. And Augustus, you're a professional running events. You can decide how many of those steps are, mission critical to pull it off for this new idea. And by the way, when you're forced with those constraints, maybe you find some, local business. For example, in the U.S., we have a bunch of Chamber of Commerce. If you said to the Chamber of Commerce, gosh, we're going to have this venue for AI, and we want you to help us promote it, there's a bunch of these local, Chamber of Commerce folks that would be interested in getting their members in. So maybe, they're doing some of the promotion, doing some of the work that you might have paid for, and you're either subsidizing or offering a low ticket cost to those guys just to kind of, grease the wheels of progress. So again, I'm not even saying that's a good idea, but you will just figure out how to solve solve the problem as fast as you can. By the way, another question coming in from Adam. He says, when launching a new brand, does the name really matter? And well, the answer is it only matters to you. And when I'm launching a brand, it only matters to me. So a lot of people wouldn't know, but the original name, actually, I will be thrilled if anybody knows the original name of Google. Can somebody put in the initial name of Google before they called it Google? If anybody knows, put it in the chat. I will reward you handsomely with praise and admiration. The initial name of Google. I see a lot of silence. I'm going to take a drink, find out what happens. Okay, nobody is putting in. The initial name of Google was backrub.com. Why? Because they're massaging the search results. The initial new name for Amazon, anyone want to put it in? Amazon's initial name, before they were Amazon, obviously. Just go ahead, put it out, shout it out if you know it. Again, I got a lot of crickets. A lot of crickets. This one's pretty well known. This is not me making it up, by the way. This is all facts. Okay, the initial name of Amazon, again, apologies for switching gears here, but I got a bunch of screens, was Abracadabra, if I'm not mistaken. Abracadabra. So, and by the way, it's not like they arrived at Amazon and suddenly everybody goes, oh, Amazon, that's where I buy everything. No, that was just a place to sell. It was a bookstore. Names only mean what you, over time, create. Yes, Augustus, threw in the cadabra there. So it sounds like he was in the loop. Anyway, the names only mean something to us. With the advent of AI, by the way, I think you can come up with some really cool trademarkable names. I would certainly focus on having something that is differentiated. So if you're selling, spark plugs for your automobiles, I wouldn't call it, spark plug buddy, because that's very descriptive. I would, call it, Sparky or, Sparky time or something like that. And again, AI can really help you with this stuff. I may want to imply the genre or the market that I'm serving, but the more descriptive you are, the less likely it is to be trademarkable. So I really focus on having something memorable and unique, right? So Catalyst88, it's everybody asks, what's the 88 mean? And I'm just like, well, it could be how many, keyboard or how many keys are on a piano. It could be double luck in Chinese. It could be the year I graduated high school. It could be that I went Catalyst 1 through 87, and the 88 was the first available.com. There's many answers for that. But the key is it's just something memorable once people start thinking. The same with parsimony and on down the line. So Any other questions, gang? This is the time to ask them. We don't have to go super deep into our bench if you don't have questions. You have no obligation. I do have one little thing I could share if we get to it. Nothing crazy, but I'll bring it up just in case. All right, so I see again the two screens I have here are. There's more people on that screen than this screen, but this is my studio screen. That's why I am looking around like a madman. Okay, so let's see here. By the way, did you guys like the music? I don't know if you came in a minute or two early, but we had some pretty fun music. I'll just play a quick little thing. This is all made on Suno, by the way. Let's see. There's a quick one. Oh, I turned down the sound. All right, so if you want to have music for your brand or for your event, it's a very, very good way to do it. Suno, very powerful and incredibly insightful, and it's really cheap. By the way, on Catalyst88, we have a little link. I don't make money on that, but I think I might get some credits. Not that I need them. I'm a paid member, but you might get some credits, which if you're a free member, that might be helpful. Okay, well, let's see. I will throw up, I'm going to do the Kingmaker playbook. So any questions, final run through on that for the moment. Let me just add the Kingmaker playbook. So this, I did a quick run through on this last night, but I'm going to go on ahead. That's the wrong ones. Excuse me. And let's put this up. Remove and add to stage. Okay. Let me know if you guys can see the Kingmaker's playbook. Just pop that into the comments for me, please. And thank you. Okay, I got some yeps. Thank you. By the way, of the 5 people over at Catalyst, I only have 2 actives. So I'm going to find out who the non-actives are and shame you later. Thank you. Okay, so this is just a rehashing of something that was discussed last week in Nashville. And I've already lived this in some ways. And so I'm just going to run you through this real quick. So this is kind of related to Augustus's question, which is, what if you, instead of doing safe incrementalism, you tried to do a 10x, right? And the argument that was presented by Jason is like it's actually safer long term to find that 10x reason. He used a great example of, if you're trying to make a giant objective, you have to really rethink the paradigms of normal, as I like to say. That's my words, not his. But if you start thinking about how many $100 bills it would take, it's like 2.5 Empire State Building. So the point is safe. We understand, blowing up big, we don't. And so this is actually, I think, the most most important point, which is if you said, I have to accomplish this goal, or I have to 10x, or I have to do whatever, instead of being distracted by the 157 daily decisions, you're like, there's none of those incremental things are going to make that 10x happen. What is the thing that I need to do to blow it up? And that is likely a singular directive. And I told a story before, and I'll tell it just briefly again. More than one time, we have had to have our paradigms of what's possible blown away. I won't get into the whole thing, but I could say, if you rethink how you scale, the components that go into it, the variety of decisions you're making, you'll find very quickly it's like, well, if I increase PPC by 10%, is that going to 10x my business? The answer is no, and on down the line. So you need to think about, well, what do I have to do? I have to break into, as I like to say, the new paradigms, and start thinking about, what will it take to make the big changes? I could say, this is the this is what it leads to, right? You have to start figuring out, well, how do I find new audiences with AI, or how do I reach out to my current audience and learn, from them through email? How do I create ad creatives? We did a session at Catalyst88 a couple weeks ago about Manus AI. I also dropped in a 5-minute kind of summary of that in a video yesterday. So there's a lot of good stuff at the Catalyst88 group. And again, we're not looking for thousands of people there, not even really hundreds. We just want a handful of folks who want to make a difference in their business, and I'm committed to helping those that do that. So scale comes from, finding ways to solve the problem, but that could lead to much bigger things. So to use an example, if you have a new brand, what launch partners could help you? What sales channels could help you? If you had to, do $1 million in the first year, what would you have to do to make that happen? By the way, we used to have several direct-to-consumer websites, and somebody go, hey, I have a new idea for a website. And we would say, basically, this would be me because I'm old and annoying to them. I would say, if it can't do $1 million a month, I'm not waking up out of bed for that. So prove to me how it's going to do $1 million a month before we consider funding it. That's a lot different than how brands start today, right? They go, well, I'm going to throw some stuff on Amazon, see if it works. But if you have to do essentially, $12 million in your first year, you start to think differently about how that happens. So, I'm a big fan of, trying to figure out how to, go nuts and find the points of leverage. And I won't go through all the slides, but I will leave this one here. Labor, to Augustus's earlier point, is not the best form of leverage, right? It's high friction, there's a high cost, and it's more difficult to scale. And I think interesting, it's a wide variety of quality levels. It's not like you can just go, oh yeah, I hired somebody, now everything's great. You have to manage. There's a variable outcome potential that is high probability. Capital is behind closed doors. You either have it or you don't. And if you can get it, you probably have it or have access to it through your own leverage, which again, it's a great lever, but if you don't have it, then you're not going to get it easily. So then you really just think about, all right, I need to focus on AI as one point of leverage and media, right? This is driving your brand through, social, through paid. And I will just remind everybody, I have a long-standing axiom that if you can't pour money in the top of the funnel and have, let me get myself on the screen here just for a second. If you can't pour money in the top of the funnel and have profit fall out of the bottom, you don't have a real business, right? So money in the top, profit out the bottom is that infinite reach, because the customers will pay for themselves, particularly if you have a LTV type of item, a recurring purchase. So if you can't do that, now you got a big problem, because if you're just selling them one item one time and it's unprofitable on a customer acquisition cost basis, also known as CAC, we used to call it CPA. If you can't do that, then you don't actually have a business. You just have, I found this item and I put it on a marketplace and I hope I get the magic pixie dust that Amazon or Walmart or TikTok sprinkles on it. Otherwise, you don't actually have a business. So I'll leave that point there, and I'm going to take that out and put me up. All right. So anyway, I'm not going to get into the long song and dance on that, but I do want to remind you guys that breaking the paradigms of normal, that is a thing. And I will, ask you guys if you have any more questions, because this is an AMA, go ahead and pop them in here so that I don't cut you short. But I will try to give you a quick story on how breaking these barriers actually worked in real life for me. Just one example. There are others. I was flying to Florida to do some video stuff. We had a studio or some news network was doing some story on one of the companies. And so we were down there supporting that. And we had a call with an investment banking company, and we had done $5 million the prior year, $6 million this year, and frankly, I felt stuck. I didn't know what to do, and I kind of hoped that they would tell me what to do. So I kind of thought, if we can get to $10 million, we're going to be a real company. But I asked him, I said, what do we have to do to be interesting to the investment banking community, to where they will start to take our calls and they will, try to find deals to help us capitalize and get that growth capital that we need to really accelerate. And, again, if they had said, 10 million and then we're old buddies, that would have been great. But no, they said, if you're not get to 25 million, we don't even want to take these calls, right? We don't even want to have meetings with you because you're not even a real company until you hit around 25 million from their world, right? This is not to say that there's not many valuable companies. It depends on what you're looking for. So, you have a company that's doing $1 million and you're making massive, margins and you got the life you're dreaming of, more power to you. Not a criticism of that. But for us, we wanted to grow, to 50 or 100 or whatever, and we were stuck at 5 or 6. Well, I was gutted when they told me, hit 25 million before you even start to pretend you're a real boy. And I just couldn't imagine, like, how do we quintuple? I thought 40% was going to be a problem. Quintupling was a big problem. So we came back and we just reset everything. It's like what we're doing is not going to give us growth. So we either hunker down and try to make that profitable and something that we're proud of and put our name on it, or we have to come up with new ways of growing. And indeed, we started going in all different directions as far as growth initiatives, and not the incremental growth that we just talked about, but the exponential growth. And we went from 6 million that year to 18 million to 36 million. So in 2 years, we 6x'd it by breaking those paradigms and beyond, by the way. Within 4 years, it was 72 million. So, going from 6 to 72 million in 4 years, that is above 10x. And so I'm here to tell you that incrementalism has a role to play at times, especially in times of uncertainty, times of turmoil. Maybe you got the cash flow issues, etc. But if there are times that we can, break outside of those paradigms of normal, then that is where you're going to find the big breakthrough. So, apply that to your own lives in whatever way that makes sense. The truth is, many of these conversations only make sense backwards, right? It's hard to connect dots going forward, but I highly encourage you to, basically just go, whatever your problem is, whatever your challenge is, assume no outside help is coming, and now go solve the problem. And with AI being your thought partner, and everybody can use mymentorsteve.com. Don't forget that. It's a good thinking partner too, that will give you some pretty hilarious, if not terrible jokes, and some silly metaphors along the way. So don't forget, that's a free resource for everybody, mymentorsteve.com. Okay, that's enough blabbing for me. Does anybody have any questions? Checking all the screens before we tie it off, because I don't need to keep you here any longer than necessary. This isn't Ask Me Anything. I did have a couple other questions, but that were preset. I didn't want to get into too, ethereal topics. I'd rather get into, what's on your mind right now today, and the live folks are the ones that deserve the most attention. That's you, by the way, if you're hearing this. Unless you're hearing a recording, I suppose that's possible. Okay, it's a lot of crickets. Okay, just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Was this useful to you or not? Throw that in the comments for me, just so I have a quick assessment. This is my net promoter score. I got a thumbs up. Oh, somebody put in a middle finger. How dare you? That's also a joke, everyone. All right, I got a couple. My actives are giving me the thumbs up. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to tie it off for now. We'll do this again when I have time. And if you're not already on the Catalyst88 community, use that little QR code and go join. Again, once people are inactive after a certain amount of time, they're out. Not as a punitive measure, but just as a cleanliness measure. We just need a small, tight-knit group hanging out and having fun, and ideally helping each other. That's our mission. We're here to help, and sometimes that help actually turns into real things. I'll leave you with this story, and I'll give you guys just another moment to put up any final questions. So just this past weekend, I was in Nashville at Kevin King's great event. He always does amazing events. If I tried to tell you how they are, it's a disservice to his greatness. So I can tell you that, there's circus people and all kinds of fun things. That they had a space cowboy theme for the opening night. It's really fun. But I had the great honor and privilege of meeting a fellow named Robert, and he came up and he introduced, and he's like, "Hey, I started a company." This means we introduced ourselves to each other and we shook hands. Anybody who couldn't figure that out, you may not be able to cope as an entrepreneur. Anyway, so we meet each other, and he says, "Hey, I want to introduce myself. You inspired me to start my company back in 2005, everybody. So over 20 years ago, I had started a company, and that got a lot of press, and I was very, let's say the industry was aware of me. Probably for the first 3 or 4 years, I was the most hated guy in that industry because I disrupted everything and everybody. But he kindly said, "Hey, listen, you were the inspiration. It's great to meet you, and thanks, and blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Hey, great to meet you. Thanks for the heads up." And I just love the fact that even though I didn't know him firsthand, or at least I don't recall meeting him before now, it's after 20 years seeing that cycle continuing on, right? That's really the mission here, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I will take it from here and let you guys move on with your day. Thanks, everybody. And I appreciate to Kevin for the event, Robert for the shout out and the recognition, and all of you actives, Augustus, Adam, and the gang. Really appreciate one and all. Thank you very kindly, and we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.